Welcome to CATtheMinion YouTube channel. My name is Teresa, but you can call me Cat. This is going to be a Cat's Hit the Deck review, and I'm down to only a few decks that I own that I haven't reviewed yet. So while this series isn't ending, there's going to be a gap coming in the near future. So if you've missed any of the other deck reviews that I've done, you can check out the playlist. And if you are interested in having more reviews coming in the future, I'm actually not going to be able to do more reviews until I have more decks that I've used for a while, and that would require me purchasing more decks. So if you want to help with that, you can donate, energy exchange, hit that tip jar, PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo. And again, I'm not going to review decks that I haven't used enough to be familiar with them. And so that would include doing readings to post on YouTube with newer decks, and also client readings. So if you want a client reading for you or for a friend, you can email me, and all of that information is going to be down below, or you can email me, because I usually keep the running list of readings that I offer in the description box. You just have to open it up and scroll down far enough. So the deck that I'm reviewing today is one that I made for myself. It's just Sharpie and invitation card stock that I bought with some envelopes for my chapbook packs. So these are all slightly cut down with the corners nipped off so they're not sharp. Basically colored index cards, but they're technically blank invitation cards. They're just cut down a little bit, and you can see these rainbow colors here. Some of them are matching these rainbow envelopes that I have for my chapbook packs. The chapbook packs are for sale in my Etsy shop, and will include excerpts of writing, and there's little art cards in there and small drawings that are folded up and tucked in there. But this deck, which is basically made from scrap materials that I had to buy anyway as part of what I was doing. So the phrase deck that I made, these are just little arrows there to indicate some kind of design for the back, but it works out fine because I have Sagittarius stellium anyway. So these are all taken from books and manuals and magazines and encyclopedias and dictionaries and such. I may have even flipped through my college or high school yearbook and found some words on a page, but I wanted to have a deck that was like what people say to each other, but I didn't want it to be limited to just love messages, because that gets pretty stale pretty fast. I wanted to have a more involved conversation. So I went in order through the books and opened the book, flipped through it to a random page, and then did the old randomly pointing the finger on the page and go to sentence. So these are, I think there's one that has actual quotes on it, but these are all paraphrased, because I can't be quoting other people's writing on here without giving credit. But I did write down the page number that I found it on, although except for the one that's $3.99, and I know specifically is from Jurassic Park, I don't, and the one that's from my Angel Dictionary, because that one's pretty obvious. Most of them I'm not going to be able to really tell what book or magazine they came from. Again, because it's paraphrased, but also because I wanted it to sort of be detached from the source material. So just paraphrase different random things. If it was too technical, I looked for ways to kind of fan it out a little bit. So some with the numbers on the bottom of these cards, this one I put them in order just for the video. There isn't any real rhyme or reason to them, and there's no color order. There's just whatever I grabbed at the time. So the number, I could relate it to like numerology, or to a tarot deck, or to the number of a card in an oracle deck if I wanted to. You know, there's like one is can be like the beginning, and 9 can be the end, but 5 can be movement. It's stuff like that. Or this idea of like 1 is the loneliest number. It just happens to be that the one that says 1 on it is my mantra begins. So I'm just going to flip through these just to give an idea of what this can do. Now, at some point, maybe I'll make this into a deck that's for sale. I don't know if I'd still have to quote things or give credit or not. But this is certainly something that anybody can do. Just go through books and magazines and any kind of literature that's hanging around, even if it's like the I want to say TV guide, but people don't get that anymore. Even if it's like your local shopping advertisements, you can flip through it and usually find some kind of phrase. So my mantra begins, number 1. 3, my love will drown your soul. So 7, troublesome, frustrating goblins all up in your work, undoing your labor. Although sometimes they can be helpful. So we see that down here. And that's where I messed up. 9, a mansion made of bits of miscellany. So this dark green is a little bit harder to see, but I can still read it. So 10, I don't think I want to know what you did. And there's another 10 from a different piece of literature. What's wrong, dear? 12, I accept this gift and I am much obliged. That one is a direct quote because I use quotes, but I have no idea what book it's from. Clearly one with at least 12 pages. So we have 14, a perfect fit! Exclamation point. 15, oh yes, most definitely. 16, I'm only partway up this mountain, but the view is already grand. Oh, I got another 16 here. 3 times around. She'll be coming around that mountain when she comes. So we have 18, grounding of the heart center, and that's where I probably put my hand on the Sharpie before it was dry. Observation versus combat. What's that for? 23. I don't want to sell out, number 24. Alright, so number 25, we have in disguise, hiding from persecution, hermit mode, or invisible. 25, maybe I need professional help. You can see where these would come in conversations. What I like to do is get like 3 or 4 of these and set up a little paragraph. I promised we would be together, 28. Sometimes the color of the card can add extra meaning. You know, if you shuffle these up and you might be feeling a particular color, it might be a reason to pull them out. Or it'd be like, I don't want all orange cards, or I don't want all green cards. Let me get something else. Head in a pile of dead leaves, asleep to reality, willful ignorance, 29. 31, slow movement into the sunshine. 33, I'm melting as you hold me. I think that's nail polish down there. There's like a red mark. You know I love you, 36. That's just kind of ironic that these are on the same color and they have similar messages. Because these are not from the same tome. I had originally made about 50 of these, and then I went back about a week or 2 later and made more because it wasn't thick enough. And then it was almost too thick, but it's alright. Don't hate the player, 38. 39, moving power through the heart chakra to the throat chakra. This is like being able to talk about your feelings right here. 39. Also 39, not exactly the same color. This is more of a day glow yellow. Rogue figure outside of society, might look different than other people. 39. 40, nurturing. And here, the general idea is like take a week off, like self-care. Number 40. I haven't been sleeping well, 42. Unexpected and silent movement, 43. And we're not just talking about farts here. I call on my guides. This is angels, higher self, ancestors, or whoever. 45. Also 45. You get a feeling of an event. The more information, the greater the tension. Huh, I haven't gotten that card that much. What does it say? Oh, synchronicity. Okay. Synchronicity. You get a feeling of an event. The more information, the greater the tension. Okay. I don't get that card that often. I'm crushed by the weight of not feeling good enough. 47. Ego. Ego of less. Ego of lack. Even if you don't believe in it, experimenting with both practicality and spirituality could prove useful. 52. I get that card on a fairly regular basis. Periodically check the ties that bind you to others. Is there balance? Is it a positive or negative binding, or are there distortions? 54. I'm starting to gain some insight. 58. This one comes in a lot too, especially because this adds up to 13, which could be a death cycle. We also have that 8 there, and then this 5, which can be movement. So this one comes in handy quite a bit. Hype led to the belief that the miracle had already arrived. 61. This is when you get one of those tower moments that you weren't expecting. You're like, what the hell, man? 61. Which, incidentally, is the tower backwards. Oh, it's the same color card next to it. Ancestral rites of passage, 63. So 60. No, okay. Oh, possibly of passage. So we have 63. Another 63. This one is where I screwed up on the arrow and made a crappy one, and then made a slightly less crappy one. Whether you know it or not, you need their guidance. It's like listening to your intuition. Hold it for a minute. 65. It's a hot potato. Enhance calm. They're coming out. The cat emerges from the bag. 78. Enhance. Enhance. Having it easy is not a blessing. All right, there's a lack of opportunity for maturity if everything is easy. So we have 84. It rains all the time. And there's an option here. It's like it can't rain all the time, or it doesn't rain all the time, or I'm only happy when it rains. So we have 89. Your reputation, wow. Your reputation precedes you. 92. For when you don't say 2 words at the same time. Angel Demabia helps you focus on your solar and sacral chakra. So this is from the Dictionary of Angels, and the page that I happened to land on and point to was the little entry for Angel Demabia. But this is sort of like any guide, any angel of your choice. It's just sort of a placeholder. It's saying that there is an extra dimensional character there. Or if you've heard of him, it could actually be that angel. But we're dealing with solar chakra, but possibly also the sacral. 94. This sounds too good to be true. Also 94. Them some bitches had got some teeth. 97. Sacrifices paying off of karmic debt in Neptunian energy here. 99. 99 problems in a bitch anymore. You're not seeing something, or you're not seeing the bigger picture. 101. This also looks like an absolute value of 0. We have a palindrome here. It's a screaming banshee riding a motorcycle going by. This also looks like a mirror image. There's a difference between knowing how to do it and actually doing it. Theory versus manifestation, or concept versus work. Number 103. We also have another 103. You have to remind yourself that you yourself are solely in control of manifesting measurable growth in your life. 103. Are both of those about doing work? They're both about doing work on the 103. Interesting. Oh, this is another quote. I cried and I couldn't muffle it with my hand. 111. I have no idea what book that's from. I wonder if it's one of the ones that I haven't read yet. That I bought like 2 years ago. Multiple frequencies of the Empress or the High Priestess. So we have high vibe, low vibe, and pseudonyms. So this is sort of like the mother, the maiden, and the crone. The Empress is the mother, the High Priestess is the crone, and then the maiden would be something like Virgo, with like the Hermit energy or those upper pentacles. 8 of Pentacles, 9 of Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles, Virgo energy. Or it could be like the 3 of Cups, right, where it's the three fates dancing around, like the Empress split it into a bunch. Could also be like the 2 of Swords or the Queen of Swords or Justice, which are, to me, are phases of the High Priestess. So high vibe, low vibe, and pseudonyms, feminine energy. Number 115. Another 115. This cord that binds me to you is unbreakable. With whale energy. 115. Master of the Hunt. So we have to do with resources, gets what they seek, associated with nature, and the crown chakra. And this is the Emperor operating in Pentacles energy. So this is a masculine energy. 129. Oh, I'm digging my elbows into the table. It kind of hurts. I should probably stop doing that. We began to climb quickly. Number 136. I'd forgotten how beautiful it is, or how life is, or how you are. 137. Choose your own adventure on that one. Starlight shines upon you, confirming your time in darkness is ending. 140, although could alternately be 293. And I'm not sure why that is, but apparently there's a reason for that. All right, so this is like getting the star card. So we have 141 looking like the absolute value of 4 here. Entering the darkness with elegance. And there's actually another one here. Although this one looks more like 141 and this one looks more like the absolute value. I can't make out what you're saying. It's like, dude, what? What? Okay. Vibrating in a resonant pattern, i.e. harmony. And look, it's coming out 144, which is a very important cosmic number, 12 times 12. Do not restart old arguments. We have maintained peace as a side comment here, number 154. Schrodinger's cat, if I spell it right. So we have observation here, also 154. Would you literally die if you stop following the societal program? So this has to do with comparing yourself to others, 161. It doesn't matter whose fault it was, 167. I don't care whose fault it was, fucking end it. Protection, healing, meditation, green garnet, androdite. So we have Pluto and Saturn energy. This one I can tell you came from this crusty book from the 80s or the 70s. It's this falling apart paperback I bought that I just finally finished reading about crystals. So page 169, we're dealing with healing and meditation and green garnet. Pluto and Saturn energy. I mean, it's a helpful book. It was just really boring. Set your boundaries, 171. Was that 2 171s? No. 174. Education of tradition of the past and realities of the present. Okay, let me reread that. Education of tradition of the past and the realities of the present. I feel like that was better. 174. 175. The princess was at first frightened to see a lion. This kind of makes me feel like the strength card. A little bit. 176, I had to stop it. 177, buy one, get one free. That could have been from a magazine. I'm not sure what you're getting at. And then in parentheses, math is hard. 177. So, for some reason, this reminds me of Teen Talk Barbie. Came out in 1992. Mine, the one that I had said, I'm going to be a veterinarian. And I don't remember what the other 3 phrases was that she said. They said 4 things. But apparently some of them came with the phrase, math class is hard. And people flipped their shit. They're like, this is teaching girls that they shouldn't be doing math and da 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 da. And I'm like, well, I don't care. I mean, I took calculus in high school, so it wasn't a problem for me. But apparently it was discouraging girls from taking math. But here, I'm not sure what you're getting at with this math is hard, and I'm not sure where I got that. It's like I'm having a hard time adding it up. Like, I can't solve this proof. I can't bring it into a logical conclusion. That's what this math is hard means here. 177. I'm going to be a veterinarian. No, I don't believe you. Why would you lie to me? With feeling. 183. So you have 184. This is 37. Which is not great because I can tell what card it is from the back. But that's just how I do. So 187. Are they poisonous? Don't you know that you're toxic? So you have 209. Remember the advice or remember my advice. 223. Digging the cave to the underground to address your terrors. This is a lot like the Hermit. Or it could be like the 6 of Swords inverted. Going under. 271, a view of reality, awareness, a new view of reality, awareness of distortions, 271. This is a really handy card. Union of opposites, aka the Lover's card, 287. Pay attention to time shifts and synchronicity. So here's another synchronicity card. So we have perhaps a significant time zone, 294. I was wrong to avoid you, 295. You want us to come together as a tribe. This part in parentheses. 314. This whole card is not the prettiest handwriting. I'm like, who wrote this shit? But you should see the notes I write for myself. They're really illegible. I can write in cursive, it's just that my cursive is worse than my printing at this point, and learning cursive made my handwriting worse, so this is what we have now. Is that the King? Lead the way, 354. So this is a lot like the 6 of Wands. Reconnect with ancestors, and then we have shamanic lore as a side concept. 357. Migration or sending out a search party, 399. This is the one that's from Jurassic Park. I didn't fully believe, 403. And the other 403, you know more than you let on, or you know more than they do. 403. Take a well-deserved rest, 426. Another self-care card. This hospital green here, too. Hospital mint. Obsessed with your stories, like social media or in terms of manipulation. So this could be a lot like the 5 of Swords. 432. Or the Page of Swords. Are you there? Please talk to me. 458. Going in a chariot. 494, but alternately 1276. That looks like an E, and I don't know why, what the extra line there on the C. Who knows? I don't. 573. I will not blank if you blank, or I will not if blank if you don't do this. This is a conditional love, fill in the blank, the wacky Mad Libs. But we're talking about an ultimatum here, 573. Lying is more exclusive of 3D than 5D, 677. So this is to say that the act of lying is something that is basically a 3D meat space event, and that it's much harder to be deceptive in the 5D and when you're dealing with pure energy. 677. The very the very definition of to land. So this is like right after the Fool card. It says post Fool here. Right? It's like, oh, he really stuck that landing. Or they really stuck that landing. 791. So we have 815 here. We're, whoever is heading in the right direction. 815. So we have 825. Somebody opened the door. This makes me think of the World card. Like the gateway between judgment and the world. Somebody opened the door. 825. And the last one, 929, they've been asked to cooperate with you. So hopefully you can see we're having a phrase deck like this where things are much more random, although a lot of these are paraphrased from novels. And novels is pretty much all about people interacting with each other. So I didn't have to try to think up new phrases of how people are going to talk to each other, because after a while it's just going to be me trying to think up new different things for people to say to each other, and it's going to be kind of boring because I'm not, in my opinion, I'm not a very good writer. At least in terms of dialogue and people interacting with each other. I don't feel skilled in that arena. But I can certainly divine or have a synchronicity on which pages I pull from. There's going to be a certain, a lot of these are going to be from Anne Rice novels, James Clavell, just weird religion and art related crap, and some fairy tales, and Clive Barker, and obviously the Michael Crichton. So there's a bunch of random shit in here. There's some probably stuff from children's books that I've kept. I know there's gotta be some Grimm's fairy tales in there. That's probably what that Princess Afraid of the Lion thing is from. But there's a greater depth of metaphor and what people are talking about in these than the lovers talking to each other kind of decks that seem to be like a dime a dozen. I don't really want to knock people that make those or use them because they're for a purpose. But in terms of having a conversation, if all 50 cards are like, I miss you, I'm working on myself, I'll be there in a minute, we're soulmates, or I just gotta, that kind of stuff, it limits the conversation, it limits the scope, it limits the breadth, it limits the depth. This is, for me, is you can really lay out a paragraph. It's not just, trying to squeeze blood out of a stone in that way for me. And because I wanted a deck that was sort of like what I was seeing people use, the one that I ended up making is something that I feel really good about. It wasn't quite there after the first set that I made, but once I made the second half of the deck, a couple weeks later, I was really feeling it. It really felt like it worked for me. So this is, again, this is the card stock that you would buy a pack of index cards in the store. It might be a little bit thicker because these are invitation cards. But they're it's like poster board. And they're about, I want to say they're about the same size as a Hay House deck, but they're a little thinner. They might be slightly larger. But they're pretty easy to shuffle. They move quite nicely, and you know, because I had all those rainbow envelopes that I bought that the cards came with. It gives some variety. It keeps the monotony down. And again, I just drew these arrows on here. It was sort of to like give them direction, but they're all sideways from the arrows anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Once in a while I'll read these inverted, but I don't usually. Sort of however I feel like it at the time. They shuffle pretty well. I just want to lay out a few of them to show how a paragraph could be made. Right, if you want to talk to somebody. You get a pink one, and one of these green ones down here. And maybe an orange one. No, not... Yeah, I'm gonna get an orange, and a green one. Not that green one. This green one. There we go. So let's see what we've got here. I'll just put them like this and see what it says. Okay. Just for an example. Having it easy is not a blessing. Obsessed with your stories. This sounds too good to be true. Enhanced calm, they're coming out. The cat emerges from the bag. And I was wrong to avoid you. So this whole paragraph here is basically a story about, you know, having some kind of struggle. It's like pulling teeth to get somebody to talk to you. Meanwhile, you're like stalking them online, and they're putting up this story that everything's fine in their life, and you're like, you piece of crap, how dare you have a fine time in life. Meanwhile, they're actually, you know, droopy, Eeyore. They're like Eeyore over there, you know, because they have unresolved problems with whoever is cross-watching, and it's like, you know, their life can't be that, you know, hunky-dory. They can't just be, you know, the cribs and the clubs and the jewels and the whatever, you know. It's like picket fences and barbecues and champagne and parties, and you're like, you know, sitting there on the phone scrolling with popcorn, like, how dare they? Oh. So that's just an example of a story that can come out with these cards. But let me do another one, because that one's pretty specific. Let me just get... Okay, we'll do purple and these two orange cards and this lime green one that I'm looking at down here. Or it's one of these Dayglow citron things here. Alright, so this one we've got the very definition of to land. You have to remind yourself that you yourself are solely in control of manifesting measurable growth in your life. Okay, somebody coming together as a tribe. And we're heading in the right direction. Okay. So this is sort of like, you have to be the one that's sort of in control of your destiny. Like, you're the one who decides when to leap, and you know, using your jacket as a parachute, you can kind of direct yourself to where you're going. This one is about, again, it's like heading in the right direction, steering yourself as you sort of, you know where you want to go in life, and you're ready to just kind of go for it. And then here, it's like, coming together as a tribe is like, once you take responsibility for where you're going in life and actually do it, then you're going to be able to encounter people that are in the same vibe as you, but you actually have to like take the responsibility to do it. So you can see how this paragraph is very different than this paragraph. And that's what I like about these cards, is that they work really well like this to build up a story, and they work exceptionally well with tarot and oracle cards to fill in, you know, it's like filling a jar full of marbles. That's the tarot cards. And then in between the marbles, you're going to put little like sunflower seeds. That's the oracle cards. But here, this is when you pour the water into the jar, or the sand. you know, to really fill in those cracks. So this is why I like this deck. It's about 100 cards. It might be like 102, 104, 106, something like that. But it's about 100 cards, and I highly recommend doing this kind of a thing. So again, you don't want to quote from a book directly. You want to get kind of the general idea of what the sentence you land on is saying. And it can be, again, it can be a dialogue, or it can be a thought or an action. And I find it extremely helpful. If you want one just like this, you can feel free to pause it as much as you want and screenshot it, copy it down, type it out so that it's legible for you and not my crap handwriting. Or if you are interested at some point, maybe I will be able to make this up as a deck that could be for sale, but not until I do the other 3 decks that I've got in the pipeline already. But in the meantime, if you want to see these in action, feel free to request it if you buy a personal reading, or you can just scroll through my back catalog here on YouTube, because I have been using this, I want to say, for at least a year and a half as of when this video drops. I don't know exactly when I made these, but somewhere in that range. So I want to say like since like mid 2020 at least. You should be able to see this deck in use on my channel, where you could do like what I did and make your own. You could even take a notebook to a library and just, you know, have a field day. That way you could get a huge range, and then when you get home, transfer it to a card. So that could be a fun project for anybody who's interested in some DIY tarot crafting, cardomancy. All right. So again, all the readings that I offer are going to be listed down below. I'm going to move the camera after I already moved it. It's pimping my friend's merch down here. So all of those readings are going to be down below. This paintbrush so I don't have to gag on the table over here. Is that? Nope. Nope. Oh my god. I feel like I'm at the DMV without my glasses on. Nope. That's about as good as that's going to get. Alright, so all those readings are listed down below that I offer. If you'd like to get a personal reading, go ahead and email me. If you want to purchase anything or donate, energy exchange, hit that tip jar's PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo. The email, the payment options, the social media, and other ways to purchase stuff from me is all in my link tree, linktr.ee/CATtheMinion. I have coloring books, dark poetry, merch, and art prints, and actual stuff you can hold there on Etsy. 3star17 is the coupon on my Etsy shop, 17% off any purchase of 3 or more items. Some of the stuff is only a few bucks, so if you get a chapbook pack, it's going to have one of the envelopes that matches these, or one that I've made out of like calendars and photos and old drawings, and it's going to have some little bits of art in it. It's going to be like getting oracle cards. And it's going to have little excerpts of this writing in a neat little folded up booklet about yay big. And that's just for those like synchronicity kind of things, right? What are these numbers that keep popping up? What are these images that keep popping up? It's like, again, it's like getting oracle cards. And it's about the cost that you'd pay for a greeting card. And if you get 3 or more of them, it'd be about $10, but you could get 17% off, right? So you'd be paying like $8 or something instead, $8 or $9 instead of 10 or 11. But if you get something that's more expensive, if you say you get like a chapbook pack and like a $20 drawing and like $160 drawing, then that 17% is going to save you a pretty hefty chunk. But the reason I did this is because I could not set up on Etsy the way that I wanted to with the chapbook packs. Because I had this whole thing where I was going to have a catalog and a PDF and people could download it, and then they would just give me the money and then I would do it. And I would, like, you know, condense the shipping. But I couldn't do that on Etsy, so this is how I'm trying to get around that. So if you get 3 or more chapbook packs, or 3 or more of anything else, including templates, plushies, drawings, etchings, paintings, doll parts, you can get 17% off of your purchase. So that's how we're trying to do that. We, meaning me, because I'm my only employee right now. So that's available. Everything through the link tree. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Check out my playlists tab, my discussion tab, and stay groovy. And we'll see you later. Bye.